Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudev Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायं मुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita Chapter 34 Jet Age Parivrajacharya Captain Lal, the pilot of the flight to Moscow, considered Prabhupada an important passenger and came back to visit him during the flight. They spoke of Prabhupada's movement, his chances for lecturing in Moscow, and of Bombay, where Prabhupada was trying to purchase land. Captain Lal invited Prabhupada to the cockpit, and Prabhupada came and sat behind the captain, asking technical questions about the equipment and the flight. Prabhupada and Captain Lal agreed to meet again in Moscow. Prabhupada, his secretary, and his servant cleared Soviet customs and immigration quickly and smoothly, and a government tourist guide escorted them by limousine to the Hotel National. The hotel near Red Square, Lenin's tomb, and the Kremlin was expensive but plain. Prabhupada found his room dingy and cramped, but barely space for a bed and two chairs. The room for Shyamsundar and Aravind was far away, and Prabhupada decided that Aravind should share the room with him instead, crowding Prabhupada's room all the more. Aravind told the hotel manager that they would not eat the hotel fare but would have to cook their own meals. The manager refused at first but finally allowed them use of the maid's kitchen. That problem solved. The next was getting food. Prabhupada sent Shyamsundar out across the street. Shyamsundar found a milk and yogurt store, but he returned to Prabhupada's room without any fruit, vegetables, or rice. Prabhupada sent him out again, and this time Shyamsundar was gone practically all day, returning with only a couple of cabbages. Prabhupada sent him out the next day for rice. When Shyamsundar returned with rice after several hours, Prabhupada saw that it was a poor North Korean variety, very hard. Prabhupada Prabhupada asked for fruit, but Sham Sundar had to hike for miles through the city to find anything fresh, a few red cherries. Prabhupada remained peaceful and regulated, keeping to his daily schedule. He would rise early and translate, and in the cool of early morning, he would go out for a walk through the all but deserted streets. Prabhupada, wearing a saffron chadar, strode quickly, Sham Sundar sometimes running ahead to photograph him. As they would pass Lenin's mausoleum, a queue would already be forming. Just see, Prabhupada commented one morning, that is their God. The people don't understand the difference between the body and the spirit. They accept the body as the real person. Prabhupada appreciated the sparseness of the traffic, some trolleys and bicycles, but mostly pedestrians. As he walked among the old ornate buildings, he saw elderly women hosing the wide streets, a good practice, he said. The Russian people appeared to live structured, regulated lives, much more so than the Americans. These simple, austere people, unspoiled by the rampant hedonism so common in America, were fertile for Krishna consciousness but devoid of spiritual sustenance. They appeared morose. Prabhupada had Sham Sundar arrange a meeting with Professor Kotovsky and invite Captain Lal to come along. The tourist bureau provided a car and guide, and Prabhupada and his party rode outside the city to Professor Kotovsky's office in an old white brick building at the Academy of Sciences. When Prabhupada arrived, the middle-aged Russian professor, dressed in a grey suit, got up from his cluttered desk and welcomed Prabhupada into his small office. Professor Kotovsky appeared a bit hesitant, however, more cautious than in his letters. When Shamasundar mentioned Prabhupada's eagerness to lecture before interested scholars at the academy, Professor Kotovsky flatly refused. It would never be allowed. Prabhupada was disappointed. The next moment, however, Prabhupada seemed unaffected and began speaking in his humble, gentle manner, sitting in a straight-backed office chair beside Professor Kotovsky, who sat at his desk. Shamasundar turned on the tape recorder, which the professor eyed cautiously but didn't object to. Prabhupada, the other day I was reading in the paper, Moscow News, there was a communist congress and the president declared that we are ready to get others' experiences to improve. So I think the Vedic concept of socialism or communism will much improve the idea of communism. Professor Kotovsky listened intently and politely as his foreign visitor explained how the grahastha in Vedic culture provides for everyone living in his house, even for the lizards, and how before taking his meal, he calls in the road to invite any hungry person to come and eat. In this way, Prabhupada explained, there are so many good concepts about the socialist idea of communism. So I thought that these ideas might have been distributed to some of your thoughtful men. Therefore, I was anxious to speak. Professor Kotovsky's academic interest was piqued. You know, it is interesting, he said, his articulate English heavily accented. As it is here in our country, there is now great interest in the history of old thought. He described the accomplishments of his colleagues and himself, particularly a booklet they had recently prepared, highlighting Soviet studies in Indology. He said he would like to give a copy to Prabhupada. Can I stop here, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mother, that's fine. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shrimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 14th chapter, 24th verse. मुक्तस्ततो यदि बन्धा देवदत्ता उपच्छिन्नति तस्मादपि विष्णुमित्र इति अनवस्थितिः मुक्तस्ततो यदि बन्धा देवदत्ता उपच्छिन्नति तस्मादपि विष्णुमित्र इति अनवस्थितिः मुक्तास्ततो यदि बन्धा देवदत्ता उपच्छिन्नति तस्मादपि विष्णुमित्रा इति yanavastitihi. Would anyone like to recite the verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, I am trying. Muktastato yadi bandhat deva datta upachinatti tasmadopi Vishnu Mitra itta anavastitihi. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. মুক্তাস্তাত यदि বন্ধা দেবদত্ত উপাচ্ছিন্নতি তস্মাদপি বিষ্ণুমিত্র ইত্যনবস্থিতিঃ। হরে কৃষ্ণ।
Jai. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji.
माता जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji. Oh, Prabhuji, you can read the synonyms and translation, if you please.
Okay, all right, thank you माता जी। Muktas, liberated, तथा, from that, यदि, if, बंधात, from the government imprisonment। Give me a minute माता जी, I'm just trying to set my screen।
Good, Prabhuji.
Or बंधात, from the government imprisonment or being beaten by the protector of the woman। Devadatta, person named Devdatta, Upachennati, takes the money from him। Tasmat, from that person named Devdatta। Api, again, Vishnumitra, a person named Vishnumitra, Iti, does, Anavastiti, the riches do not stay in one place but passes from one hand to another। Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai। Stealing or cheating another person out of his money, the conditioned soul somehow or the other keeps it in his possession and escapes the punishment. Then another man named Devadatta cheats him and takes the money away. Similarly, another man named Vishnumitra steals the money from Devadatta and takes it away. In any case, the money does not stay in one place. It passes from one hand to another. Ultimately, no one can enjoy the money and it remains the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Riches come from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and the goddess of fortune is the property of Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The goddess of fortune cannot stay anywhere but by the side of Narayan. Therefore, another of her names is Chanchala, restless. She cannot be peaceful unless she is in the company of her husband, Narayan. For example, Lakshmi was carried away by the materialistic Ravana. Ravana kidnapped Sita, the goddess of fortune belonging to Lord Ram. As a result, Ravana's entire family, opulence, and kingdom were smashed, and Sita, the goddess of fortune, was recovered from his clutches and reunited with Lord Ram. Thus, all property, riches, and wealth belong to Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the true beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerity.
No,
And he is the supreme proprietor of all the planetary systems.
पानी पानी गरम का पानी दो।
Foolish materialistic people collect money and steal from other thieves, but they cannot keep it. In any case, it must be spent. One person cheats another, and another person cheats someone else. Therefore, the best way to possess Lakshmi is to keep her by the side of Narayan. This is the point of the Krishna consciousness movement. We worship Lakshmi, Radharani, along with Narayan, Krishna. We collect money from various sources, but that money does not belong to anyone but Radha and Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan. If money is utilized in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, the devotee automatically lives in an opulent way. However, if one wants to enjoy Lakshmi the way Ravana did, he will be vanquished by the laws of nature, and whatever few possessions he has will be taken away. Finally, death will take everything away, and death is the representative of Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, Hare Krishna devotees, Danvat Pranam. We are discussing chapter 14 today. And before that, a quick background of the story of this chapter, as this is connected with chapter 13, the previous chapter, where Jar Bharat instructed King Rahugan about he instructed an allegorical story about a merchant entering into material forest and how he suffers there. And in this chapter, chapter 14, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukdev Goswami about this material forest. He wants to know a bit more about material forest. So Sukdev Goswami in this chapter starts describing. He gives a detailed explanation in chapter 14, which is the name of the chapter itself is the material world as the great forest of enjoyment. So the merchant which Bharat talked about to King Rahugan in chapter 13 is the conditioned soul. He's being greedy. He enters this material world for some material profit. right? Gradually, he enters the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. And during his journey, he suffers a lot, right? He gets the pure soul becomes conditioned by this material atmosphere of the forest, which is created by the external energy under the control of Lord. Sometimes he can be a demigod, sometimes he can be, suffering in lower planetary systems, and he's always attacked by his senses, which are referred to plunderers and thieves in the forest. And also the family members, who are wife and children, very interestingly, are referred as flesh-eating animals, like, jackals and tigers. So despite these disturbances, he doesn't want to give up. He still wants to continue his family life and his fruitive activities. And in attempt to continue these, and in attempt to have sense gratification, what happens is he becomes more and more entangled in this material world, in the law of karma. And he's later, due to his sense gratification, he is forced to act impiously. That's what this verse is about, to keep his sense enjoyment undisturbed. Sometimes he steals, borrows, or cheats. And sometimes he escapes punishment, sometimes he doesn't. However, even after stealing, borrowing, and cheating, the money never stays with the person. It keeps on moving from one person to another, and that also not willingly, as in the person doesn't want to give away or to part away with the money. But as the purpose, as the verse says that, from Devadatta to Vishnu Mitra and Upachinnati, it is taken away by one way or another. Ultimately, no one can enjoy the money, and it remains the property of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what this verse says. Now let's look at the purport from His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So 2 points in the purport very clearly Prabhupada mentions, and there might be others as well, but with my limited knowledge, I could understand these 2 points were very clear. That the first point is Srimati Lakshmi Devi, Shriji, her grace only shines because while she is besides Narayana. Why is that? Because she is her eternal companion and protector. They are the celestial pair, inseparable, right? And the other point which Srila Prabhupada mentions is consequences of misusing or separating Sriji from the Lord, which he talks about, Ravana mentality. How apt we had Diwali yesterday. And in the purport, it's all about how Diwali is, how Ravana kidnapped Sita and Lord Ram got her back. So Ravana mentality, we have to be on the occasion of Diwali, we should be meditating upon this a lot actually. So let's look at these 2 points. The first one, now if we look at this Srimati Lakshmi Devi's position in material world, Srimati Lakshmi Devi's position is generally regarded as goddess of wealth. Nothing else. You can see all the pictures of Lakshmi Devi, if you'll find, there would be gold coins around her, or there will be gold around her in material world. But for devotees, for Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees, she is the eternal consort of Lord, and she is the Acharya of Padasevanam. Right? So first, let's look at the material perspective of how goddess of fortune has been idolized in material world. Now, there was, I'll just quickly share a analogy. Like there was this farmer, and he has tethered his cow in his farm with a rope. Now, this photograph shows chain, but actually it was a rope. Okay, just imagine that it's a rope, and it was green grass all around. And she ate. She was hungry. She ate as much she wants, and then up and until the rope can go. But she was more hungry. So what she did was she stretched her neck a bit so that she can have a little more grass. And she tried stretching her neck a lot. And after that, the rope loosened a bit. And when it loosened a bit, she could have and she could eat the grass around that extra area a little bit. And then she started doing that again and again. And just for a bit of more grass she could eat. other than the area she was tethered to, right? The same is human psychology. Whatever finances we have already, we try to utilize it for our senses, like home, car, holiday, luxury travel, and then we tether around. We take some loans too for our sense gratification because it never finishes, right? And again and again, we are taking loans, we are trying to satisfy our senses. It's constant planning, it's too much. It's constant planning in our mind, going how to get more and how to get more. 5-year plan, 10-year plan, retirement plan, all these things we keep on, and all this is structured around wealth and how to get more money, right? In this chapter itself, Sukhdev Goswami mentioned, right, the climbing, the soul gets, the conditioned soul, the merchant gets so much disturbed, but he's still working for his sense enjoyment. And while working for his sense enjoyment, and to satisfy his family and friends, it seemed to him that he's climbing a mountain, right? He's climbing a mountain, too much of hard work, but he still does it. However, he becomes frustrated and irritated, he shouts at his family members. It is so true, right? He's climbing and he's getting frustrated as well, but he doesn't give up. And it gets tougher and tougher to arrange things for sense enjoyment. As Lord, and it will be, because Lord himself has said that this is dukhalayam, this material world is dukhalayam. Still, it gets very difficult for a person who is bound by his sense enjoyment to give up this mentality of greed. They just always plan for huge bank balances. People love seeing their bank balance grow. They make all these plans. Very famous one, at least I have heard a lot, and I myself do that also, the retirement plan. Sometimes we think about it, but what materialistic people will think, the day I will have $500,000 or more in my savings, then I'll retire, and then I'll go on a world tour, or a uh, cruise ship, whatever. In this regard, I was listening to His Holiness Keshava Maharaj, and Keshava Maharaj mentioned that for us devotees, there is this principle: books are the basic, books are the basis, and for materialistic people, he said, it's bucks are the basis. And it is so true. Why bucks are the basis? Because nothing in this material world, you can't do anything without money, right? If you don't have money, you can't do anything. But also, it is because of the non-dependence on the Lord. Lord says, Yoga Shemam Vahamyaham. I will provide what you want and what you lack, and I will protect what you have. He is saying, Yoga Shemam Vahamyaham. He's also saying, Masucha, don't worry, don't fear. Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja. But we have this materialistic mindset, and what we do, Kam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. We don't do Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Yeah, I think I've heard this famous quote from His Holiness, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, that there is ample for everyone in this, everyone's need in this material world, but not enough for one man's greed. So this is all because of greed, right? Shriji is not meant to satisfy your greed. Shriji is meant not to be with anyone. She only belongs to Lord. Lakshmi is chanchala. She doesn't want to stay with people who wants to enjoy themselves. Money is supposed to be means to an end. That's how Shriji has that's how this material world is created, where Shriji's part of the wealth is used, money is used as a means to an end. But in Kali Yuga, it is becoming more and more an end itself. Right? To desire Lakshmi Devi, to desire Shriji, wealth, without simultaneously worshipping Narayan or not honoring her relationship with him, that is the problem. And that is materialistic mentality. That's what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say. Like when Shriji came in Samudra Manthan, it is said that when she came, all the demigods and devatas, they all were looking at her with desirable eyes. They all desired her. demigods also desired her, but not as in misusing her. They desired her as a internal consort of the Lord. They knew that this is definitely a Devi. Someone, as soon as she appeared, Indra quickly got a asan for her. Respectful, right? And that's how devotees look. When we even talk, we don't call how much dollars I have to pay you. Most of the time, devotees would say how much Lakshmi we have to so by using that word, Srila Prabhupada is inculcating, in us that we are supposed to look at her as Shriji and not as a material wealth, as a concept of material money or wealth, right? If we will keep on looking at her as from a materialistic point of view, we can lose it in any number of ways. And if we somehow manage to hold on till end, Krishna in his form as time will take it all away. Srila Prabhupada says that in the purport, right? And also people like Chanakya, all these those are not devotees. They have also written that since all our wealth would be taken at that, why don't use it for spiritual benefit when we are alive? But our nature is like this. Even our Vedas talk about dharma, arth, moksha, kam moksha. How with the dharma, with pious deeds, you get artha, you get Lakshmi Devi, you get money. And what you do with Shriji? Kama. You fulfill your desires. And what will happen? Very less chances to get moksha unless you are being very much, you will be stuck in this materialistic circle. We are get people who get entangled in this flowery words of Vedas. That's the problem, right? We just get habituated to just extend ourselves to get sense enjoyment. It's because of this greedy mentality. Kunti Maharani also says, right? Janmeshwarya Shruta Shribhir. She says that it is money, right? Wealth is a hindrance in the path of going to the Lord. So, but it doesn't mean that Shriji is stopping you from going to the Lord. It is the nature of human being. It's the greed which becomes a great obstacle to approach Lord. When wealth possesses us, we are no longer our real self. We are misled. It can actually be very intoxicating. It can be alluring, right? Lord Kapila Dev in third canto talks about Shriji. What does he says? Janu dvayam jala jalochanaya jananya lakshmya khilasya suravanditaya vidhatu urvo urvo nidhaya karapallavrochishayas samlalitam har hridhi vibhor abhavasya kuryat. The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of the Supreme Person, Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. Right? People who wants to get some sense enjoyment in this world, what do? They worship the demigods. And demigods in return in this verse, what is written? Sura Vanditaya. Demigods worship Lakshmi ji, Shri ji. But what is Lakshmi ji doing? Samlalitam, massaging. Srila Prabhupada writes in word to her, Samlalitam means massaged. She is massaging, she is doing Padasevanam. So we have to learn this from Lakshmi ji. Whenever we are us,
Have you finished, Prabhu? Oh, I think you're frozen. Actually, you're frozen, I think.
Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Did I got disconnected?
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji.
Oh, sorry. Where was I? I'm so sorry. There's something wrong with the connection. So, okay. So I was saying that, yeah, you can see my screen and all good.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Mataji.
Sorry about the internet connection. So what I was trying to say was that our scriptures also mentions about Lakshmi Devi, that how she's supposed to be served and utilized only for Lord service. And that's the verse 8.8.8, where the translation says, Then there appeared the goddess of fortune, Rama, who is absolutely dedicated to being enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She appeared like electricity, surpassing the lightning that might illuminate a marble mountain. Right? This is when she appeared from the churning of the milk ocean. So Lord Lakshmi ji's intro is done with the word Bhagavat Para. Bhagavat Para, word to word, Srila Prabhupada writes that absolutely inclined to be possessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Word to word translation is that. That's her introduction in our Shastras. She's absolutely inclined to be possessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport as well. Sorry. That the first prerequisite for peace is that all the wealth presented by Shri, the goddess of fortune, be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone should give up this false proprietorship over worldly possessions and offer everything to Krishna. This is the teaching of the Krishna conscious movement. Right, the first prerequisite for peace. We saw how that the conditioned soul is struggling to climb that mountain, getting frustrated, irritated. There's a lot of disputes going around in the family and outside with the government. If we want peace, all the wealth presented by Shri should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, this takes us to the second point mentioned in the purport, which is consequences of misusing Srimati Lakshmi Devi. What if we don't utilize like Ravana did, Ravana mentality, right? He used to see everything in every living being as an object of his sense enjoyment. And he kidnapped Mother Sita, as Prabhupada writes in the purport. But what happened? Ravana was met with very horrible end, and his whole family and friends met with horrible end. So scriptures recommend that if we earn a livelihood by honest means, use our earnings in Krishna's service, right? Use Shriji in Krishna's service. And remember that Shriji is Krishna's constant companion. By serving Krishna, our lives will be enriched in more ways than we can imagine. So this was Ravana, right? There was another in our scriptures. Let's look at another example. These are Pandavas. They always served the Lord and utilized whatever they had in the service of Lord and his instructions. Pandavas, it's written in our scriptures that Pandavas had so much opulence that even the heavenly denizens used to envy them. But what they had burning affection and desire to serve the Lord. It was so much that nothing mattered to them. Going to forest, being in that Lakshagra, fighting the Kurukshetra war, it was not a problem, not at all. The problem was they all just wanted to be, the problem was if the Lord is not with them. They all just wanted to be with the Lord. That's all. They were happy if the Lord was with them. Right? Kunti Maharani says in her prayer that there had been so many problems which has come over, and you have always protected us. In if we have Ravana's mentality, we'll be killed by the Lord. But if we use Shriji in the right consciousness, Lord will protect us at each and every point of our life. If our consciousness is serving the Lord. There's this incident I think most of you would be aware of. Let's recall this, that on the seventh day of the war, the Pandavas, especially Bhim and Arjun, they inflicted significant damage to the Kauravas' army. Duryodhan himself was badly injured and wounded. Duryodhan, at that injured state, went to Bhishma's tent. And Bhishma, looking at the injury of Duryodhana, he felt very compassionate, and he nursed his wounds and treated him with special herbs, which kind of relieved Duryodhana. But he was so angry and so frustrated, he started questioning Bhishma's loyalty, suggesting that Bhishma's compassion for Pandavas was preventing him from killing them. He insulted Bhishma a lot. So Bhishma, with feeling insulted, and he felt bad for Duryodhana as well. So he took a vow to kill Pandavas the next day. And he took out 5 special arrows, infused them with mantras, with the power to end the Pandavas. And Duryodhana slyly took those 5 arrows from Bhishma for safekeeping. Now, what happens? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto, right? Krishna knows everything. Krishna went to the tent of Arjuna immediately when this was happening at Bhishma's tent. It was night time, and Lord reminded Arjuna of a promise which Duryodhana had made to him long ago when Arjuna had saved him from the Gandharvas. So Krishna instructed Arjuna to go to Duryodhana and ask for specifically those 5 arrows which Bhishma had given him in return of that boon. So Arjuna didn't have any clue what Lord is talking about. He asked Lord, but Lord just told him, just do what I'm asking you to. So despite being in the midst of war, it was a normal etiquette at that time that if enemies, the other side, will, even they were treated with respect. So when Arjuna entered Duryodhana's tent without any armor or weapons, Duryodhana welcomed him, offered him seat and water as well. And when Arjuna reminded him of that boon and asked for the 5 arrows, Duryodhana, though shocked, he honored his promise and handed them over. He asked Arjun, though, who told you about these arrows? And Arjun said, Lord Krishna asked me to get them from you. Duryodhana was very frustrated. Then Duryodhana went to Bhishma's tent. And then he said that, please give me another 5 arrows, infuse them with the mantras to kill Pandavas. The one you gave, I've already given to Arjun. So we need another 5, backup plan B. That's how our material mentality works, right? But Bhishma got very angry and said, you fool, why did you give away those 5 arrows? Those were the special arrows. I can't get any more of those. And then he said, it looks like it is the plan of Lord. You cannot do anything. Pandavas cannot be killed. And there in Pandava's camp, Arjuna gave those arrows to Lord, and Lord smiled and told, now you all brothers are safe. See, this example clearly shows Krishna takes care of his devotees. He's the only one who feeds from ant to elephant. I was reading today Srimad Bhagavatam, second verse translation, purport. Prabhupada writes that that we have to depend on the Lord. He is feeding us. He is feeding from ant to elephant. He writes it there. He's our best well-wisher and friend. And there can't be any loss in worshipping him and utilizing your Shriji in Lord's service. There cannot be. Look at Bali Maharaj. When he surrendered to Supreme Lord, he didn't lose anything. Sudama Vipra, he didn't lose anything. One of Krishna's opulence is wealth. Remember, Shriji is not ours. Whatever wealth we have is a loan from Lord given to us. It is meant to be used in his service. The more we use our borrowed wealth in Krishna's service, in other words, in harmony or in utilizing in activities to please the Supreme Lord, the more we will become free of anxieties arising from this greed and this fear of loss. When we do our duty as a service to the Lord and when we are not attached to the results, we become purified. By depending upon the Lord, we save a lot of time as well. We do waste a lot of time in planning about how to get money, and then once we get money, how to spend it and how to save it. Instead of that, we should only spend the time which is absolutely necessary on these material things. There's no need of atyahar and prayas. We don't have to do. We should rather utilize the rest of the time in planning how we develop as practicing devotees. What is the goal of our life? We say, what is the goal? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In material, jobs, they ask, but where do you see in 5 years yourself as devotee? Where do I see in 10 years myself as a devotee? Right? What is my retirement plan as a devotee? We should also have some plan right in our devotional service. Short term, long term, some performance evaluation should be there in the stages of devotional service too. Otherwise, we all would become complacent. We should plan for devotee association, reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, service to the deities. We should continuously evaluate our devotional service progress, right? Regularly. His Grace Radhesham Prabhuji mentions, preferably Ekadashi to Ekadashi, we should evaluate our devotional service. Practicing devotees, we all should be very careful where we are going, what are we achieving, what our goal of life is, so that we know we are not misled with the allurement of wealth and sense enjoyment. Right? Use man, kram, vachan, as Lord says, Srila Prabhupada writes and purports, in the service of the Lord, by having goals, planning, taking action. Most important, introspection, evaluation is self-introspection, and also under bona fide mentor, counselor. Both are needed if we want to get progress in devotional service. So I'll end the discussion of the purport here, where you all have listened very patiently, and I just want to say that all this is for me. I was reminding myself, and with this purport, I just pray to Shriji that please bless us so that I can also be engaged in the loving service of Lord's lotus feet as she is, and utilize her in Lord's service too. Also, today is a very special day. On this occasion and this auspicious day, I pray to Lord to save all of us from allurement of wealth, fame, pride, and always keep us in association of devotees. Hear how, right, in one action, Lord got together all the devotees of Raja under one roof of Govardhan, and they all were happy, dancing, serving Him, enjoying Krishna conscious activities. I hope and pray that Lord give us also this peaceful and special mercy to always stay united in serving Him. Happy Govardhan Puja. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much, Mataji, for the very nice class and bringing out the essential point of this verse. And in fact, what I understand, the basic difference between the Deva and the Asuras, or in other words, Shura and the Asuras, is the Devas, or the people with that mentality, they depend on the Lord. And the basic difference is that the Devas depend on the Lord for their. In this material world, no one is free from dangers. There is padam, padam, padam. Everywhere, in every step, there is danger. Even the devatas are not free from that. We consider them very powerful. They're much powerful also, and having they have blessed with more powers, enjoyment, and all that. But still, they're not free from this misery. But they depend on the Lord. As against the Asuras, they depend on their personal effort, and they disregard the role of the Lord. So that's why, and this is the crux of the transcendental service. We have to understand that when we depend on the Lord protects us, and the Lord is Purnam, and His creation is also Purnam. So if we consider that we are because we are created by the Lord is also protecting us. That is the basic knowledge one has to understand, because only God has created us, He is protecting us. If we think that He is protecting us, we have not to depend on our own effort to protect ourselves. The God, of course, when it is needed, Lord is also given us partial independence. So He also supplies us with the knowledge. And it is there in the key verse of the Bhagavad Gita also. He provides the necessary intelligence how to do that, how to get it. And so He protects us. At the same time, He helps us to go to the God when we depend completely on the Lord. So it is really the how much we surrender to the Lord, that is our perfection of our devotional service. And the other day I was going through one of the quotation from our Guru Maharaj. He was telling the perfection of life is how much we have surrendered to the Lord. When you have surrendered fully, that is the full perfection of life. So, and in this verse, it is clearly stated, people think that in the material world, by their own effort, they can possess it, but it comes and goes immediately. Only by the Lord's mercy, we get all these things. When we consider the Lord as the controller, ultimate controller, then we have peace, and all our activities also becomes peaceful. But when we fail to understand that, all the problem starts. In this regard, I am just it is coming to my mind one verse from Bhagavad Gita. It is 9:24, I think. Of course, the same content is also told in Bhagavad Gita 5:29 also, that ahami sarvajagyanam bhokta cha prabhurevo cha natu mamu vijanati tattenascha vayantite. That means the Lord is the ultimate enjoyer, or the enjoyer and the master of all sacrifice. Therefore, who doesn't recognize this, the true transcendental nature falls down. So we have to understand that, and if we lead our life in this way, we can make our life successful. And that is what the verse is also trying to speak in a different way. Hare Krishna. This is my realization, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you so much
Krishna.
for your beautiful lesson. Yes, very relevant to our everyday life. I have like an subconscious thinking of how do we go with our relying to God. So it's when you rely on God, it doesn't mean that you just sit back and think that God will provide everything for you. You got to act in this material world, but at some point you have to sacrifice some sadhana to do some material things. And I can't really get the fine idea of how do you balance this, so is it another dimension of relying to God, so that God will guide you with the balance between your material life and your spiritual life? Or how? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm not clear with my question, but the idea is how to rely on God to guide with the balance between material life and your spiritual life, because we can't just sit back, do nothing, being, in Grihastha ashram. You got to do some material
Correct. No,
actions.
thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Ahe. So your question is how to understand the concept of reliance on God, when to and how to, if I'm correct.
Yes, because if you just rely on God and think God will provide me with all the Lakshmi and just sit back doing nothing, it's one side. The other side, you just sacrifice all your sadhana and keep earning money in this material life, just thinking that I will earn them first and then I will do some, sacrifice part of my earning to God. But then you sacrifice some sadhana when you do that. So how do you rely on God to do this perfect balance in your life?
Yes. So the perfect balance, Mataji, it comes from the first and foremost thing is we to understand this concept is very difficult. How to rely, we as grihasthas, not only grihasthas, everyone, Krishna says, and the Lord says in chapter 3 that everyone has to work. Even when he came, he had to work, right? So you can't just sit back and rely. Look at the Pandavas, they were not just sitting back and relying on Lord, that okay, yeah, Lord, you will do everything, and if Lord wanted, he could have won the war, right? There's in this regard, there is uh, I think there was this book written by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Journey Back Home. In that, he has highlighted an incident in Vrindavan, Ramesh Babaji Maharaj. And he said that when he was in Barsana, And Barsana is a hilly area, right? So when he was there, he was sleeping with this. He was sleeping outside wherever he used to get. Right, he didn't have. He was a wanderer there as a Babaji. And in Barsana, there's a very famous. At that time, the devotee was not so famous, but he was a Babaji, Ramesh Babaji, and Maharaj says that he was associating with him, and they were sleeping outside one night. The first night when Maharaj visited him and he was associating with him, they slept outside under the hilly area and all. They were sleeping. I'm not exactly remembering, but it was. The details I'm not remembering, but recalling, but it was a place where it was all open. And back in those days, Barsana, Vrindavan, Braj, they used to have a lot of wild animals. So he saw that Ramesh Babaji Maharaj took a stick and kept near him, and then he went to sleep peacefully. After telling Radhanath Maharaj that there would be wild animals there, and Radhanath Maharaj couldn't sleep. He was so worried. He was looking here and there, and then he woke up Ramesh Babaji Maharaj, and he said that, "Do you think there would be definitely these wild animals?" And he said, "Yes, yes. You go to sleep. You go to sleep. Don't worry. You just go to sleep. I have the stick with me." And then Maharaj also slept, and Babaji Maharaj slept. In the morning, Radhanath Maharaj asked to Babaji that, "You told that there are a lot of wild animals, right? How could you sleep?" He said, "No, Lord will protect me. Don't worry. Don't have to worry." And then he said, "Okay, then why were you having that stick? Do you think that stick could save you from if any wild animal could come?" At least it was a small and very thin stick. And Babaji just smiled at Radhanath Maharaj and said that, "No, I know that it will not save me. But I want to let Radharani know that I am doing my part. I am endeavoring to keep myself safe."
Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji.
So we have to endeavor, Mataji. That always stuck. Like, my memory is very small, but this whole book had wonderful exchanges between devotees and Maharaj. But this one stuck me so hard because I also had similar question where I used to think that how to know, when to know, what to endeavor, what not to endeavor, how much. It is the minimum. Whenever we are having any struggle in material life, we don't that doesn't belong to us. Everything what we can just be normal, don't adjust our sadhana, and yet we can achieve our minimum necessities. The problem for endeavoring is when we are thinking too much about sense gratification. That's where the endeavor come, because
Thank you
Krishna
very
is
much.
taking care of our needs. Yes, and anyways, Mataji, I'll just add to one thing, that's where the concept of mentor or counselor also comes. Whenever these things get very complicated, if a senior devotee who knows you very well, you can contact them and they will be able to guide you in more detail. I've just given you a little overview, or maybe not even fully. So thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful question. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. I've got the idea. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, there's a hand raised. Vijay Krishna Das Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it's because of what we are celebrating today, the worship of Govardhan Hill. And my question would be, when Lord Indra was trying to drown the whole of Vrindavan and kill everyone, the animals, the inhabitants, even Lord Krishna himself, what was he thinking? Because he, at the time, he was Lord Indra, he is the king of heaven. And what is to be expected from him is for him to be as knowledgeable as required for him to occupy such an elevated post, because being the king of heaven is not a small thing. But still we see that in this pastime he's trying to kill Krishna himself, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, by drowning them with the clouds and the rain and the storm. So is it? My question would be: how is it possible for such an elevated demigod to act in such a I'm sorry, the word that I'm going to use is stupid way, because he's trying to kill the Lord himself. Where is the knowledgeable King of Heaven that we don't see anywhere? Because if what is to be expected from a knowledgeable King of Heaven is for him to act in the opposite way, in the sense that he would be there offering obeisances to Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to whom all the demigods should pay obeisances, because the demigods are only administrators in the service of the Lord in relation to the material creation. So it is so confusing. What kind of demigod is this, that it seems that he knows nothing? And to complete my question, who was in charge at that time in order for Lord Indra to pay obeisances? Lord Brahma, or is it Lord Indra because he was the King of Heaven? He could allow himself to act in any irresponsible way, because what he did, it was very irresponsible. So it's very puzzling. This pastime is, because of the behavior of Lord Indra, it's difficult to understand. Any help?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your question. I'll try to, Prabhuji, give you some insight, and then there are more senior devotees here as well. They can help. So there are two questions. One is, why did Indra acted in so much non-guilty manner?
I take it back. Not stupid way, but irresponsible way.
Irresponsible way. Yes. Irresponsible way. And the second is, was anyone above Indra to check him? Is that right?
Exactly. Where is the one with power enough to check him?
Yes.
Who is, if there is anyone to check him, who is this person? Lord Brahma? Who is this person that no one is there to check Lord Indra from acting in the irresponsible way that he acted?
Yes. So why Lord Indra acted in an irresponsible way? Of course, we are in this material world, and your question itself said that this material creation, he is the king of demigods. No one was above him to check. Actually, Lord Brahma was there, but he never interfered in the activities of heaven. Lord Brahma never. He is busy in his meditation on Lord and his devotional service. It was Lord Indra. Lord Indra is Devendra, the king of demigods, right? And it becomes very confusing, and I can understand it can become a very much controversial as well when such a high personality at a high position acts like this, what Indra did. And the simple answer I could give, because of time constraint, is that this is material world, and Indra is king of demigods within this material world. And in this material world, no matter how, unless you are a Nitya Siddha, Nitya Mukta, you are bound to do mistakes. This is it is how the nature. It is not a flaw of material world. It is a feature of material world that each and every person would be struck with this pride, false ego, calm, growth, all these, it is a feature of material world. And Lord Indra is not immune to that too. And that's why he acted, because he was stuck. Yes, we do understand that he was, Lord Krishna also says, Indradi Vyakuram. Indra is very close to the Lord, and him behaving in that way, just because Lord stopped his worship by the Brajvasis, that made him so angry and irritated. The main point was he never thought that God could actually put a check on him, that no, 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 why are you worshiping him? It's not needed. And that's what created a lot of anger and the way he acted. Indra acted.
Sorry to interrupt you. So he knew that Lord Krishna was the supreme personality of Godhead?
He knew before, but when Lord stopped the worship, he had doubts. He made assumptions. He had
Oh,
doubts
I
that,
see.
yeah, he had doubts that how can, see, if you are stopping your child in front, say if there's a prize giving happening for your child, okay, and then you are going there, you're sitting in the front row, and then you are stopping the prize giving ceremony and saying, why are you giving prize to this guy? Sorry, what this guy has done? This is all, these are natural talents. There's no need to give prize. The son would definitely get a doubt. Hey, what's wrong with my father? Is that, why is he saying so? So Indra got this down. What's wrong? But then he went ahead and thought that, oh, maybe he is not God. Maybe I'm just, he is someone else is supposed to be God. Maybe he is not Krishna. He's not my father. He's not the Supreme Father. That's where the doubt appeared. He made assumptions. He made a lot of assumptions in this and Bhagwan says, right, when our senses are, sangat sanjayate kama, when our senses are attacked by lust and very natural that anger will arise, and with anger the buddhi nasha, we can't, our intelligence is lost, we can't think. So
yes, that verse, the two verses in Bhagavad Gita.
2.65 and 66, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it happens to every material entity here, Prabhuji. That's the thing. But what good is the difference? Our Guru Maharaj says the difference between the mistakes what demigods do and the mistakes what we do is they immediately realize their mistake and they never question that, if we do a mistake, we will just say, yeah, I was wrong, but that person could have done this, that person could have come to me, and that we start giving so many reasons. But the demigods don't do that. Demigods own to their mistakes and they realize it and they try to correct them and not repeat them, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
their intelligence is much more advanced than ours.
Correct. And their devotion is also much
they're
more
much more
advanced.
intelligent.
Yes, Prabhuji. But I'm not sure whether I'm
Sorry?
able to give you the correct. But
Yes, you did. You did, because in accordance with your answer, what I got from your answer is that what caused for Lord Indra to act in such an irresponsible way, it was falling into illusion.
Yes,
because illusion prevents you from distances
right thinking, yes.
you from worshiping God. You begin to think that you yourself are God.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Okay. I think we can end here.
Yes, Mataji, it seems there's no other person to make any comments. So thank you very much for the class. And you can end the class now. Vancha
Vancha
kalpatarubhyascha
kalpatarubhyascha
kripa
sindhubhyascha
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha.
Anantakoti Vaishnava
Anantapuri
Jai.
Vaishnava Jai Shri
All
Prabhupada
praise
ki
to assembled
jai.
devotees, Sarve Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Ki jai.
His Grace Sita Mataji's Jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.